Here we go. Black, according to science, means death. And I'm going to close on this. White means purity, purity means God, God means rule of the land. That teaching alone has garnered so much negative side eyes at fezzes and turbans, it doesn't make sense. But many of us, as Moorish American Muslims, it's our fault because we have not or cannot explain it in a way that does what? Satisfies the intellect and the intuition. Inshallah, I'm going to attempt to do that right now. What is meant by the word black? Black, according to science, means death. What kind of science? We're going to deal with that. Mathematically speaking, we could say black equals death. Well, see, the prophet did say black, according to science, means death. But he also said, death is no enemy to man. It is a friend who, when the work of life is done, just cuts the cord that binds even both earth, that it may sail on through the seas. He also said what? There's a holy ministry in death. So we can superimpose one with the other and say that black is no enemy to man. Black is a friend. There's a holy ministry in what? Black. Real talk. Let's go back to that container, the only container that could keep the God in manifestation. What was the color of that container? Absolutely. Triple darkness. But now this is something else the prophet said to us. Man cannot die. The spirit man is one with Allah, and while Allah lives, man cannot die. So when we say black, according to science, means death, what are we talking about? What's dying? The relation of the word black to death. First of all, the science. The word science means the intellectual and practical activity encompassing the systematic study of structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment. What science are we talking about here that deals with the terms black and death? We're talking about, oh, absolutely, he said Moorish science. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What are we dealing with? The science of alchemy. Follow close. In alchemy, the alchemical death is called disintegration. Defined as the fermentation of elements in a state of dissolution. The alchemical term for putrefaction, this is the process, is called nigredo, and occurs via an extreme heating of the material to be transformed within a containment or flask in the spiritual death of the ego. That is what dies, people. That is what dies. The thing that separates us between Allah and man is that function of humanity that is our foe, the carnal nature. The ego itself is not evil. But when man's will becomes sluggish and goes to sleep, the true self goes to sleep, and we leave the workers in control. That's the ego. Now we begin to identify ourselves by our own experiences, when the experiences are to simply be brought back to the true self. Understand? We begin to think that this is man. Instead of man is in flesh, we begin to think man is flesh. And our prophet taught us it is not in flesh to think or bones to reason. So, the physical body is the flask or the container in which this process happens. The fire is the true will, developed and inflamed by persecution or sacrifice. Man will be fully redeemed and restored by the things he suffers where? On the plane of manifest, on the plane of soul. This process is referred to by the Taoists as practicing to die, and the Sufis' mantra, die before you die. The alchemist Cornelius Agrippa, in his book, he described nigredo or blackness in the alchemical sense, meaning decomposition, by the penetration of the external fire. The external fire, which is the breath of Allah, we call it. The inner fire is activated. That's the seven inside the circle, the seed, which is in the heart of man. And the matter starts to putrefy. the body is reduced to its primal matter from which it originally arose. This process is called cooking. This particular process, Brother Wesley, the color is red. That's why when you said that, we were like, oh my goodness. That's the process. The black earth is closed up in a vessel or flask and heated. Don Permetti's book from 1758. Putrefaction is so effective that it destroys the old nature and form of the rotting bodies. It transmutes them into a new state of being to give them a totally new fruit. Everything that has life dies. Everything that is dead putrefies and finds a new life. In the alchemical process, Negredo gives rise to, and we're just talking alchemy, gives rise to a state called what? Albedo. The brilliant white light of divinity of man piercing through the development stage of Negredo. It represents man's first recognition of and communication with his own divine nature. In fact, nothing dies except what hinders and obstructs the transformation, which is what? The ego, the carnal nature. Death indeed is transformation, symbolized in astrology as the 8th house, in the tarot deck as the 16th trump, alchemically as the planet Saturn, and the base metal lead in alchemy. And the purpose of alchemy is to transmit or transmute the base to the noble. Let me say that again. The purpose of alchemy is to transmute the base substance into the noble substance. How many of you are familiar with orbitally rearranged monoatomic elements? Let me explain it to everybody. You have an atom of gold. The way the electrons are arranged, the way they attach, create, in their unique way, create a metal-to-metal bond. Basic chemistry. A metal-to-metal bond. You have a perfect octet with the electrons. They're balanced. But when fired on with a high, a powerful electric arc over an extended period of time, the electrons the nucleus begins to spin so fast it goes from perfectly round to like an iris, or like what's called a vesica Pisces, like the iris of a cat's eye. When this happens, the electrons all begin to spin the same direction. When they spin the same direction, the metal-to-metal bonds break apart and it falls apart as a fine white powder. Is it gold? Yes. Is it a metal? No. It is still gold, but it is no longer a metal. Do you know what our brothers in the Nile Valley call this? The word Shemana. What was fed to the Israelites every morning when they were on their sojourn for 40 years? Manna. According to the historiographer royale for the real Knights Templar, Lawrence Gardner, in his research, he states that that is the food to deify the Kemetic kings. Isn't it interesting that science has proven that 5% of your brain matter is already orbitally rearranged monoatomic platinum group elements? Already in your brain. Yes, sir. So, the phrase solve et coagula, or solved what is fixed, the fix must be solved, can only occur within Negredo. Let me say that again. It can only occur within the body that's called what? Or the state that's called what? Or the condition that's called what? Black. This is the holy ministry of death. This describes us as a people perfectly, because once that disintegration has happened, we are broken down to the very last compound, so far that the only people in the history of humanity who have ever been called Negro is us. That Allah breathes on that pliant substance. And what happens? life springs forth from the death. Prima materia is the pliant substance. Verse 38 in chapter 17 of the Holy Chronicles of Moorish Science of America. A literal return to the original state, or first matter, so that the external fire can penetrate fully and activate the inner fire to bring about the albedo state, which cosmically is the Big Bang of Western physics. Chapter 1 of our Holy Chronicles of Moorish Science of America, prima materia equates to the ethers of the plane of soul and the dark matter of quantum physics, and Nut, and the inner fire that must be touched by the penetrating external fire is the seed that came forth from the heart of Allah. I got tons more stuff. We're going to have to end it right here. Thank you all very, very much. I greet you all. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.